From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Millar begins now.
Good evening. Tasmanians are being told to brace for an influx in flu cases, with the state's leading doctors warning of a potentially deadly season ahead. They're now urging locals to roll up their sleeves to help avoid unnecessary chaos in the state's health system.
Post-COVID, respiratory illnesses are on the rise and in the community.
People are now starting to travel. We're getting cruise ships in and a lot of travellers back to Tasmania. So yes, we will have more flu this year than what we've had previously.
GPs are encouraging Tasmanians to get on top of the flu early, with only a small amount of cases currently circulating in the state.
And if you can prevent getting the flu and prevent becoming unwell, you're taking the pressure off the GPs, you're taking the pressure off the hospital system.
A system already grappling with patient overload that's expected to climb in the winter period.
It's important that we keep Tasmanians safe and it's important that we manage the risk for our health system over winter.
Pharmacists are again lending their support to the vaccination effort.
Uptake's been really good. We've had lots of people asking about it, lots of people booking in.
And for those more vulnerable to illness, extra strength doses are providing ultimate protection.
Recently, pharmacies have been able to vaccinate the Fluad quad for patients over the age of 65.
One age cohort in particular is of concern for doctors after COVID measures have shielded thousands from exposure.
Children under 6 will not have been exposed to flu and therefore are particularly vulnerable to getting a severe dose of flu.
A flu strategy is currently being developed by the government. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Another 14,000 individuals have been identified in the Tasmanian government's data breach incident. The Science and Technology Minister says these people have been added to the list out of an abundance of caution. Madeleine Ogilvie also says as of this afternoon, no new information has been released by the hackers. The government is also confident it has identified everyone who could be impacted.
My understanding is from our technical people that they have completed that review and that they are fairly confident that we are at the end of the cohort work.
265 calls have also been made to the hotline. The Minister says some individuals may receive more than one letter from the government due to their data being doubled up. And if you have been affected by the breach, you can call 1800 567 567 for advice and support. The state's latest job figures have been described as outstanding by Treasurer Michael Ferguson, with the unemployment rate remaining at 3.8%. He says it's proof more jobs are being created in Tasmania. A local pool installation business says demand for its product also shows the economy is strong, having to increase its staff numbers from 3 to 10.
We've got over 60 pools pre-sold that we have to put in the ground in the next in the coming months.
The investment that people can make with a discretionary item like a pool shows me that our economic plan is working in the community. We're aware of the pressures. We certainly are aware of the struggles that a number of families do face. But this is a very good sign of economic strength for Tasmania.
The government claims that since 2014, more than 56,000 more people are employed. And a senior emergency doctor critically injured while working at the Northwest Regional is now in a stable condition, but it's still unknown when the doctor will return to work.
This is a really tragic event that's happened. There's absolutely no place for this kind of violence against our amazing healthcare professionals. They do such an incredible job caring for us in some of life's toughest moments, and to see this kind of violence against them is just frankly sickening.
A youth has been charged over the incident. There are concerns a lack of policing could be responsible for the destruction of Aboriginal heritage land in Tasmania's Tarkine coast. Recent sightings of four-wheel drive tracks and vehicles in prohibited areas have prompted the Bob Brown Foundation and Tasmania's Aboriginal Centre to join forces and call for better oversight.
Last year, the Tasmanian government announced that no more tracks would be open for this type of activity. But since then, it's been nothing but words. There's no one in the area ensuring that people are doing the right thing.
Aboriginal heritage is being destroyed on this coast, irreplaceable heritage. It's unacceptable, and the government can't use money as an excuse. They need to get out there and they need to be protecting this area.
The state government says it will continue to work on law enforcement at the site, urging drivers to play by the rules to protect it for the future. The state's fire service is urging all Tasmanians to prepare now for the next potentially dangerous fire season. Despite the need for fire permits ending today, they're urging those around sensitive agricultural land to be nice to their neighbours.
Numerous wet summers coming to an end, leading the state to a potential catastrophic bushfire season.
And we're encouraging Tasmanians to get out now and to burn, to prepare for what we think will be a challenging year next year.
There's a lot of fuel around. We could have a hot, dry El Nino summer, which means high fire danger.
As of this morning, fire permits are no longer required for fuel reduction burns, with the TFS aiming for between 60 and 80 burns in the coming months.
Last season there was 32,500 hectares of fuel reduction burns that took place across Tasmania, and we really want to make sure that we're doing the work in autumn, which is fuel reduction season.
But they're urging landowners to be vigilant of their neighbours, especially if it's a vineyard currently harvesting this year's yield, as smoke can ruin the fruit.
We get one chance a year to harvest our grapes, so our wine growers carefully and tirelessly manage our vineyards for months before they get to autumn.
Sometimes it might just be the difference in burning off the next day or a day after that can have a huge impact on the families that work in this industry.
With this year's yield already down, the growers are doing everything they can to protect their precious harvest.
800,000 dozen bottles of Tasmanian wine produced, whereas our annual average production would be in the order of 1 million dozen bottles, so down by a reasonable percent.
But thankfully, the quality is not at risk.
We've done very well this year. We're very pleased and have probably harvested our best crop ever this year. So that's been very pleasing for us, yes.
Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
Around 150 talented Tassie kids have bounced onto the court for a star-studded basketball training camp in Launceston. Local basketball legend Adam Gibson playing host to the event, raising tens of thousands of dollars for his sister's cancer battle.
It's brotherly love of the best kind. NBL veteran Adam Gibson putting on a clinic of a different sort for sister Lisa after she was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year.
She's always had my back and supported me, so I was always going to do this for her.
The Olympian bringing along famous friends and elite trainers to Elfin Sports Stadium.
For these kids, it's pretty amazing to have some of the names that are here: Dave Anderson, Corey Williams, Jason Cadee, Keely Frolick.
All stars to the island, promising a fun-filled day of shooting, ball handling, defence and one-on-one training for some of our future basketball stars. Like 10-year-old Q, who's keen to soak up all the expertise on offer.
It pumps me up to, if I keep working, I could make that level, which I like.
Nearly 150 children turned out for the event.
It's so great to see the kids here and have so many kids here and learning from some really great basketball players.
The sport's long been a family affair for the Gibsons, and Lisa's been a major player in the tight-knit community.
When I first got here 3 years ago, I remember Lisa and Robin both coming up and introducing themselves to me and making me feel really welcome here.
The event raising more than $30,000 for her treatment.
I can only imagine the battle she'll have with costs and whatever, and obviously not being able to work and with 2 young kids, so it's all going to go straight to her.
All while the next generation of Tassie talent has a ball. Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian Doctor Who buffs are in for a treat tomorrow, with fan favourite Janet Fielding taking to the stage in Hobart. She'll be joined by Gold Logie winner Rove McManus, with audience members treated to a meet and greet and dinner.
There's a lot of big conventions around, and I've sometimes done those, but I wanted to do some small, intimate, more friendly ones in Australia. Rove.
And so we're going to get intimate. That's what I'm reading from this.
Yeah.
And I just had to be told Janet Fielding, and then I said, whatever comes next, yes.
The Australian actor played Tegan in the 1980s before returning to the classic show last year. This year marks his 60th anniversary of Doctor Who on television.
December 25 will look very different for the Jack Jumpers this year, with the team set to hit the court. Tasmania will host South East Melbourne at MyState Bank Arena at 5:30 p.m. on Christmas Day. Borrowing the concept from the NBA, last season's inaugural clash saw more than 300,000 people tune in on TV. The Jack Jumper is backing the move, saying the late afternoon timing is right.
We certainly didn't want to interrupt people's present opening in the morning and Christmas lunches that people like to celebrate. But, you know, if you don't like cooking on Christmas Day, come out to the arena and we'll do it for you.
She's also confident fans, sponsors, players and coaches will get behind the concept.
Coming out of the NBA was totally not fussed about whether we played on Christmas Day or Boxing Day. We play a summer sport and we know we've got to be up on it whatever day we're told to play.
Sydney and Illawarra will play in the other game. The Tasmania Devils will be banking on home turf advantage this weekend in a boys and girls doubleheader against the Eastern Rangers at UTAS Stadium. The boys will be sticking to structure to avoid a repeat of their loss to Bendigo in their last outing.
I think we kind of fell away from them a little bit in the second quarter, especially last week, and we stayed with them for the rest of the game, so it really does show our structure and system does work.
While the girls will take their winning form to the famously wide ground.
UTAS is such a big ground, you can really run, like we have such a fast team, we can run the outside, we can go through the middle, it's just going to be our best advantage, I feel like.
Play begins at 11:30 tomorrow. Clarence are hoping to build on their Jack Cup win when the NPL returns to action this weekend. It's been a tough start to the year for the Zebras, scoring 2 draws and a loss from their 3 league matches this season. Facing Launceston United tomorrow, their coach says the league newcomers present a tricky challenge.
Obviously they're a new team into the comp, so they've got nothing to lose coming and playing against us too, so we're expecting a tough game, obviously.
In the WSL, Taroona will be looking to get back on track with a win over Devonport. Bottom of the league after 3 matches, the team is hoping the return of a few players from injury will give them a boost.
We've got more players back on board, which is good. We seem to have a healthy amount of subs this weekend, so we're really looking forward to going back in with more of a full-strength team.
Taroona's match kicks off at 2:30 tomorrow at Kelvedon Park. And with all eyes on Adelaide for Gather Round, we're taking a look back to when Tasmania had the upper hand over the Crow Eaters. In 1995, Tassie pulled off a famous State of Origin victory, downing South Australia by 14 points.
When the state team was being pulled together in 1995, coach Andy Bennett had a straightforward goal.
We just try and develop a bit of team feeling and try and develop some simple team plans.
But what Team Tasmania achieved was simply brilliant.
From 55 metres, he's normally a beautiful kick. That's very close, it's a goal!
Tipsters beware, the underdog Tasmanians booted 3 goals in the first 5 minutes, including a duck and weave effort from Colin Alexander. Nigel Palfreman channeled Adelaide's Tony Modra, soccering through a goal. And when best on ground Danny Noonan chipped in 2, there seemed to be no stopping the map or North Hobart's famous ground, especially when New Norfolk captain Darren Denneman launched another long-range missile.
From 50 metres, have a look at this! It's home!
The punch landed. Once Colin Alexander booted his 3rd.
Alexander, open goal!
And Troy Davies his 4th.
Davies, super football Tasmania, there's another one on the board.
The contest had slipped from South Australia's hands.
The ground, he's got Lee as the siren goes, and Tasmania erupt in absolute delight at their victory over South Australia. And the last time this happened was 1923.
At the west end of the day, Tasmania won by 14 points. The players were mobbed like heroes as they soaked up the moment.
Well, they've lived up to the moment. You know, you don't get too many chances like that sort of stuff, and they were right in there.
The win supercharged the state's push to join the AFL. In the end, though, Port Adelaide took the next slot in 1997. But the 95 win proved once again Tasmania was a football state to be respected. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. It was a cloudy day today across the north and east of the state. Launceston reaching 19 degrees, 18 across Devonport and Burnie, Hobart 16. 20 was the state's top in Strawn, Flinders Island 19 and 18 in Low Head. Around Tasmania, cloud is seen being pushed over the north and east by onshore east to north easterly winds. Further out, a large band of cloud is extending from severe tropical cyclone Ilsa over WA and South Australia. Light showers about the northeast and northwest of Tasmania are expected tomorrow morning, with rain developing statewide during the afternoon. North to northeasterly winds tomorrow 20 to 30 knots, swells up to 2 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A gale warning is current for the west coast, as well as a strong wind warning for the east coast. Tomorrow's forecast now, showers increasing and 21 in Hobart, 18 and more showers across Medina and Oatlands. In the north, Launceston rain increasing and 21, Devonport 19, rain in Lyowini. Rain across Burnie and Strawn tomorrow, Marrawar 19 with the rain and wind easing. St Helens, showers increasing and 21 and showers about Swansea and Orford. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now, Sunday rain clearing to the east during the morning. Monday showers about the west, mostly fine elsewhere. And Tuesday showers about the north and west extending statewide during the afternoon. Capital cities 21 and partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow. Melbourne windy with rain developing and 28 in Brisbane. And currently Hobart 13 and mostly clear, Launceston 15 and Devonport 14 and mostly clear. And that's Friday night's weather, Kim. Have a great weekend and stay out of that wet weather ahead.
I will try to. Thank you, Jackie. You have a great weekend too. That is all your news for now. Good night, everyone.